Hello and welcome to P Guru's channel. I'm your host Sri Iyer. This talk with Professor R. Vaidyanathan is going to be about economy, and this you can also think of it as a continuation of the fireside chat that we had hosted between Sridhar Chityala describing what is happening in the United States and TV Mohandas Pai describing what is happening in India. Professor RV, the Indian economy now, India, as well as the whole world, I must say, is slowly limping back to normalcy in a post-COVID world. A lot of things, especially the service sector, is in a lot of pain. Now, how do you see the economy, sir? And how do you think, or where do you think growth is going to come from?
Now, it's a very pleasure to be part of the P Guru channel, and the customary request is for people to subscribe so that they are able to have a significant amount of future benefits. And
Yes.
also this book,
Yes, and please.
my last read.
Yes.
That's a new book, I think, by Iyer. In the
Yes.
this in the trilogy, I think this is the
Book 2.
second one.
Yes.
And
Yes.
the third one is also expected soon. Right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Now, this is available on Amazon,
Yes, sir. It is available on Amazon today.
Kindle also.
Yes, Kindle was available for a month. Now Amazon also is available. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
So, now there is a lot of talk about the economy, and there are some people who are arguing they are seeing green shoots, and
Right.
they say the September numbers are better and other things. But let's be very clear about a couple of things. One is Reserve Bank of India, in their official statement made 3-4 days before, told that around minus 9.5% is going to be the growth rate for this year 2021.
Right.
That means from April 1 to March 31st.
Right.
Minus 9.5. Let's be very clear about it. On 2011-12 base rate. That means this minus 9.5 is a what one can call constant growth rate, not on current basis. Current basis, it could be worse also. Now, agriculture seems to be doing relatively better in terms of last quarter. Actually, it showed something like 4.5 plus, and overall year, I think it is estimated to be around plus 5. Plus 5 is something very interesting. And agriculture constitute roughly 20% of our economy, 18 to 20%. And indicators are the fertilizer offtake has improved quite a lot, and also the corresponding requirement for agriculture tillers and trucks and other type of tractors and other things are also picking up. If agriculture is really going to show plus 5%, and if the overall it is going to be minus 9.5, you can imagine how much industry and services will be deeply in a dump.
Yes.
Because something is plus 5, overall minus 9.5 mean others should be really, really bad.
Right.
The last quarter itself was 23% minus. So we have to be very cautious before making any quick judgment about these green shoots and other things. Some of the green shoots can be very misleading. For instance, automobile offtake has increased among the wholesalers, hoping that during the festive season more number of people are going to buy that. But automobile industry itself is in dump. One is individual institutions and companies have stopped buying cars. They are using from the agencies very easily. Instead of every executive coming to the office with a car and parking it and evening taking it back, whenever you require, you ring up the agency and they will deliver. Second is this arrival of Ola and Uber. Two-wheelers have increased because many people do not want to commute in this crowded trains and buses. That could be one of the reasons. Anyhow, wholesaler to retailer, we have to see in the month of October, November during festive season. And that alone cannot be a indicator. For instance, a recent study, which is mind-boggling, of an area called Koramangala in Bangalore. That pin code is supposed to be one of the busiest pin code in India in terms of new enterprises, entrepreneurs, and then in terms of startups, and very, very important area. And some of the major founders of Infosys and various Wipro and other thing are all residing also in that area. A study was done where two people have traveled across the area. Then they found out 160 toilet boats. Most of the establishments have been closed. Small shops, as well as the startups, as well as the various other type of software and hardware businesses. It's a very, very depressing scenario actually in that area. Because why we are talking about Koramangala, for the simple reason it is a hub of the Silicon Valley.
Of
And next
India.
to that is Indiranagar, which has also been equally affected. So it will take quite a number of period in order to for it to come up. It's not going to be an easy task immediately. Other thing is, yeah,
Sir, one of the challenges in a startup ecosystem is startups are not a service business. Once a startup shuts down, chances are that something else will have to start from ground up. The market doesn't wait for you, is what I'm trying to say.
yeah, that's right. But it is not just the startup. So many other type of small, what you may loosely call enterprises have also shut down. Plus, larger software companies have reduced their bonuses and reduced their salaries by 20 to 30%. Many of the real estate companies have cut their salaries for staff and executives by up to 30%. Some of them have kept half of it, 50% of it, in case post-COVID situation improves. Otherwise, it is a cut. So there is a large software companies have sent people home. Some companies, I'm given to understand, all those who are on the bench have been asked to go because new projects are not coming up,
Right.
particularly from Europe.
Correct.
Because many European companies consider software to be one of those capital budgeting items, and they do not want to now invest heavily in that as of now. And then, as you know, large amount of these onshore activities are getting offshore. Now, I am given to there are reports suggesting IBM is going to focus more on cloud computing only, sitting in there. So, and then plus there are local pressures in US, wherein companies like Infosys are recruiting local white people in order to fill up some of those gaps and other things. Overall, the situation is not very conducive. The second point is we are on the left side of the Engel curve. I always used to say, in other words, our spending on this food grain, vegetables, milk, and eggs, poultry, or other type of non-veg, that constitute 50 to 60% of the middle class income. And in metropolitan towns, it is including rent also. Very surprisingly, the census 2011 says 92% of the Indians live in their own places, not on rented places, whether in the rural area or in the urban. Maybe a small shackle, maybe a kacha house, whatever be the thing.
Right.
But others who are living in the metropolitan towns, they spend on the rent also. So 50 to 60% goes for these items. Whereas in US, for instance, comparatively, it may be something like 15% or something in terms of these food items and milk and poultry and other things. So the remaining 80% or so, they are able to spend on what you may loosely call non-essentials or whatever you know. So the recession in US means reduction in the purchase of those items. In India, actually, it is a question of not buying these items, these what you may loosely call basic necessities. But people anyhow will buy. People are not going to eat less because of recession or actually work from home. One lady was telling, make them eat more because you are always at home. So you tend to munch something, cook something, and so the point I want to stress is the benefits which are coming, extra benefits, are going to be spent on this because food inflation is a cause for worry, according to me. It's already something like 6.57%. The RBI target is around 4 plus minus 2. And the way things are moving, I think it's going to be a major challenge, the food inflation for India in the coming period. In the midst of this, government has announced some extra benefits primarily to the government employees and also private organized private sector. India, you see, 85% of the employment is in what you may loosely call self-employed or contract labor. They are not in government or big companies. So the benefit announced by the government is going to benefit only 10 to 8 to 10%, possibly. What is the benefit? They say that you can take your leave travel concession as a advance now itself and spend till the coming year March end, and also you can use it for buying of what one can call articles, but whose GST should be about 12%. This is supposed to be boosting the demand side of the picture of those government employees.
Why are they
So
complicating it so much, sir? I mean, this is all very complicated. Very complicated.
not complicated. I jokingly told somebody they could have doubled the salary of the government servant and then say that you spend all of it.
Right.
This is not the way to increase the demand side of the picture at all. Of course, one can also cynically say a lot of government employees have lost out in terms of bribery during this pandemic period, except those who are involved in the COVID scams in India. Otherwise, you have lost out in regular bribery. So this may be to, sort of provide them some lollipop so that they feel comfortable or something. That way also one can look at it. The point is the extra income which is going to come, according to me, if at all, it's not an income actually, it's only an advance. If at all this advance, they will be used more for this food and other item because of the inflation which I am anticipating. People are not going to jump and go and buy things. And of course, this 12% GST is another interesting thing. Economy class is 5%, less than 12%. Business class is 12% GST. So the government says you must use it for articles which are above 12%, at 12% or above. That means government feel that people will buy refrigerators, TV and other things. This is not the way to boost demand side of the picture. The best way to boost is say that up to 10 lakh there is no income tax. Very simple. And above that up to say 30 lakh 10% and above that 20%. That's all. Two slabs. And also all those who are above 60-year-old need not pay taxes unless their income is above say 20 or 30 lakhs. Then they have to pay 10% taxes. These are senior citizen benefit. Remove GST for all organization less than 50 crores. Just don't bother about them. Focus on large enterprises and later on slowly induce these smaller one also to get into GST. Last but not least is cut down government departments, which we have discussed earlier, by
Yes.
50%.
Yes.
Ministries can be closed and government will save huge amount of funds actually. Massive amount of funds it will save. So the prognosis is not very green or good or anything. Actually, the shape of things to come could be much difficult. And there are reports which suggest there could be equivalent to COVID type of viruses which may come out of China, maybe in the next couple of months or something. There are also reports about resurgence of COVID in certain part of Europe and other things. India is now stabilizing in the 70,000 plus range of new COVID findings every day, and of that, of course, the what one can call corrected or treated is roughly 85-90%, which is very good. But still, one hopes that we don't have again the stage 2 of COVID, in the sense resurgence of COVID. China seems to have had some problem associated with the resurgent, in the sense, and hoping for these green shoots and other thing could be more in terms of supporting the government, or but the facts are what RBI suggested, minus 10.5 is the number at which we are going to face. 21, 22, one is not sure. Of course, I am not such a great believer, but the Panchang people who are making Panchang, they seems to say that the next year, Vivela, some name coming year, Sarvari is the current year, next year. They say that the infections will be significantly higher in the first quarter of next year. This is their forecast or prediction or whatever it is, hoping that it doesn't also come true. So the situation is not appropriate. Yesterday, for instance, the Times Now, one of the channels in India, they broadcast about this coming election, state election in Bihar. One of the first question asked is, what is that which worries you most? It will be interesting. People didn't say about COVID. Only 7% told COVID is of worry to us. 28% told unemployment is that of worry to us. So large number of activities. See, when real estate activity is disrupted, huge amount of this construction laborers become
Unemployed.
not employed.
Right.
And a large number of people are not calling these plumber, fitter, carpenter and all these electrician home because of the worry about this COVID, what type of fellows will come and...
Correct.
So all these categories of people, my flower vendor says his business has come down to 20% of what it was. Same thing about history fellow. All these small groups are, and large number of people who are involved in supplying to big marriages, big festivals, supplying fruits, supplying flowers.
That whole network has collapsed, right? That whole network has collapsed.
That means so many number of people have become,
right,
and also many people have migrated outside, in other words, into UP and Bihar and other things, unless activity picks up. So the unemployment is one of the major cause for worry. Food inflation is a very major cause for worry. And so the activity or the government, instead of offering these palliatives, should seriously look at structural issues of our economy and how to, and this is a great opportunity. As I always say, Narasimha Rao used the 91 crisis as an opportunity to bring about a major reform. Same way, currently, we should use this opportunity to bring about huge reforms at the state level, corporation level, and at the central level. This is what I would say. Instead of just telling green shoots we are seeing, green shoot we are seeing, another thing. There are no shoots, right? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. That was a very revealing discussion. And viewers, please do not forget to subscribe to our channel, and also please participate in our growth. Donate to our channel, and once we hit 1 million subscribers, we think that we can self-sustain ourselves. But until then, we need your help. Namaskar.
And also announce about the daily evening you are having.
Oh yes, thanks for reminding me. Every evening on P Gurus Online at 5:30 p.m., whether it is our YouTube channel or the Facebook channel or the Twitter channel, you will be able to listen to or watch 15 minutes of a news capsule of what the next day is going to be. Supposing you are, if you are an investor, it might help you choose wisely. A lot of other things also are going to be discussed. We discussed 4 major topics: politics, economy, markets, and tech. So please do tune in and we need all the support that we can possibly get. This is a new format. We are going back to the age when we used to have 15 minutes of news in the 80s and 70s, where you got everything in that nutshell package. That's what we are trying to do. Thank you once again, Professor RV, and we look forward to again having a discussion with you, sir.